What's going on, everyone, and welcome to the Trail Theory Podcast. I'm Brian.
I'm Alex.
I'm Austin.
And I'm Pfeiffer.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Trail Theory Podcast. How are we feeling, boys?
Oh, so good.
Good.
Comfortable?
Bloop.
Comfortable.
Comfortable.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Awesome.
Feel great.
Today,
You guys are both wearing green. I just noticed.
As are
They
you.
are.
Well,
That's green,
it's
pal.
greenish.
Kind of
Yeah.
green.
Yeah, it's
And
greenish green.
I'm
Green
black.
with a little embroidered
green. Yeah.
patch thing here. Look at
Yeah,
that. That's
look at
nice.
that. You got the, you guys are
dark
cute.
pants,
Styling. Look
light
at you.
shoes.
Look at
We
you
out here.
guys. All right.
What are we doing?
Today,
Yeah.
we're going to talk about mistakes beginner backpackers make, and sometimes more could be experts that
Sometimes.
make, too. So these are just a
Not
list
us.
of
Never
things.
us. Never us, of course.
I don't know. I've done some of these things.
We're neither beginners nor experts,
Yeah.
so we
So-
don't make any of these mistakes.
I feel like we've definitely made these early on. Definitely. I do have a list of like 21 things. I don't know if we'll get through all
21,
of them.
that's a
Would
lot.
it be
Specific
fun?
number.
Would it be fun to keep tally of things we've each done?
Sure. Yeah, let's do
Definitely.
it.
Yeah, we can do that.
But before we start,
Yes.
I do want to say thank you to everybody who's watching and subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, please do that right now.
Yes.
We're going to
Where's
wait.
the button?
We're going to wait. Hey, everyone, just do it. It's right
You
there.
know, I was looking at the analytics, and it's Mike. Mike, you're watching, but
Yeah.
you're not subscribed.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead and subscribe.
So hit it.
We'll do it now.
Yeah.
Give it a thumbs up. That helps us out. Leave a comment
It
if you
says
have
it
any
in-
questions. Oh, yeah. Let's go.
It
Yeah,
shows
Mike,
it.
Calling you
It
out.
shows-
We're
yeah,
going to
it
start
shows
calling
it.
you guys out.
Right.
for
I mean, we
sure.
can see all this.
We're weekly. Every episode we're calling people out. Mike,
Exactly.
You're this week.
Mike, come on.
Just do it. Just do it.
Mike.
Now that that's done,
Mike is shitting himself at home
thank
right
you
now.
guys.
He's like, oh man, I've been seen. He's like, what? He's covering up his. Someone walked into the bathroom.
He's covering up his camera.
camera on his computer. He's like, ah, Trail Theory boys got me.
They're hacking me.
I knew I should have worn pants while watching this. I'm out.
Pants at a time like this. All right.
Mike, when we get T-shirts,
gosh.
you send us your size. We'll send you one.
Mike.
You're the first one who gets
Oh
one.
man, no, thank you. We do appreciate that. That definitely helps.
We're
us
gonna get like
help us out.
500 people named Mike. That
great.
messaged
I'm
us
so
now.
sorry.
Oh,
Awesome.
I just subscribed.
It's perfect. We appreciate
But
it.
you know which one you are.
Yeah.
It's the
You know
Mike,
who you
it's
are.
the
You
Mike
know who you
podcast.
are.
You know
That's
what
all
you
that we
know
have.
who you are. No, yeah.
All right,
so
let's do it.
mistakes beginner backpackers make. These can be simple things. They could be complex things. It could be things that physically give a toll. It could be a mental toll. It could be small or big things. So there's a lot of. There's an infinite list of things that you can really go through and dive into and really dissect and stuff like that.
I
But-
haven't seen your list, but just
Yeah.
hearing that topic, like I think to at least 10 things that like myself at Dolly,
Yeah.
it's like, oh yeah, shouldn't have done that.
Yeah,
So I
definitely.
guarantee a lot of these things.
Well,
are gonna
the
be-
first. Okay, so let's think. If you were to say before, don't even look at the screen yet.
I saw it already, but
Yeah.
it was top of my list.
But that wasn't even number one. But let's just say before we even think about anything, what's the first thing that comes to mind as a beginner backpacker? What is a mistake that we all made?
Too much shit.
Yeah,
Overpacking.
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 Overpacking for sure.
Yes.
And I would say that there's a subcategory in the overpacking. It is that you pack the too many just in case
Yeah.
items.
Right.
Yeah.
I know.
I need 24 extra batteries just in case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just in case I use all 9 hours of my battery life on my headlamp, I'm going to bring us another
Right.
set,
Just in
right?
case.
Yeah.
Just in
Just
case
in
a
case.
bear steals just my batteries.
Yeah.
And,
I'm
or
going to
just
bring
some of my
I'm going to
batteries.
bring 3 pairs of pants just in case
Right.
my other ones get wet and muddy or something, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, having not done it before, you're going to make a mistake like that because you just don't know what you're going to use, what
Yeah.
you're not going to
Well,
use.
Well, and
so,
you
I would
haven't
say
figured
you-
out the
you-
whole temperature thing yet. You haven't
Right.
figured out
Your
the
threshold for
right.
cold,
It's-
yeah. And I would also say that you run into that a couple of times because there have been a few early of our trips. I would say that I made a few the same mistakes over again.
Sure.
Just out of like the fear of, okay, I think the second trip I packed less, but I still overpacked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I
Right.
still
Oh, yeah.
didn't quite have enough experience.
took a
and it happens
moderation.
with food
Big
Oh,
time.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Where
food's
bring
tough thing to
too
dial.
much. It's a hard thing to dial in because you're always so panic about like, will I have enough? I don't want to get hungry. I want to make sure I survive. But I almost, not always. I've dialed it in pretty good. The last couple trips, like I almost like leave with the exact. I like eat exactly what I
Yeah.
pack.
Yeah.
But man, there have been so many times where I remember the first trip that we went on. I was really into roasting my own nuts.
Yeah.
Dude, I remember.
that. They were
And
good.
they were so good.
was
Yeah, I
great.
get like raw almonds and pumpkin seeds and all this kind of. I make my own mix and seasoning and so good. But
You brought like a gallon
dude,
of it.
I had
do remember the
bags,
big-
bro.
yeah.
I came back with I didn't eat 30. There was
Yeah.
I ate maybe 30% of it, and that was
And
sharing.
we were snacking
Yeah, we were all
on
snacking
them
on it.
in the car
in the
on
car.
the way to the trail.
So many.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, dude, it was
I
wild.
found it. We mentioned clothing, but it's like before our first trip to Dolly. When you're not on the trail in normal life, you think of clothing as like outfits. So it's like I've got this outfit for this thing that I'm doing, and this temperature
Yeah.
requires this outfit. So I was like, you tend to approach it that way, where I'm bringing. It's like, oh well, if it's this temperature, if it's at night, I should have this, this, and this, or I should have this coat. And then when it gets hot, I should have this. It's like you're not changing throughout the day. And when you learn to start doing the layering, which we've talked about, it's like
Interestingly enough, that video probably posted before this one. So if
Right.
you click up here, we did a whole video on
Right.
a layering system.
Click it,
something
Mike.
that I do.
Click it right here.
Mike.
Click it.
No, it'll be right
But
there.
like you,
Can't
before
you
you,
put it anywhere?
No.
I think it probably goes in the corner.
only in the top corner.
But the
Over there.
before you dial that in, and I remember I brought like my big puffy jacket, and so like actually that picture, that's us setting out on Dolly,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm wearing that jacket lasted like 3 seconds.
Yeah.
because once we got moving and we started learning, it's like, oh, once you move, you get
It's
hot.
hot. Yeah.
And then I
See,
had
the
to
three
take
of
off
us
the
were
big
smarter.
thing.
We were at least only
Right,
wearing
you
our
had shells.
raincoats.
Yeah.
I'm wearing gloves in that picture, and it was not below freezing.
No, not at all.
It was still pretty cold. I was
I
wearing
remember,
gloves in that
I remember
picture too.
doing that and not having gloves.
Yeah.
You
Because
didn't
I
wear
remember
gloves
you
at all?
guys. I don't think so.
I wore gloves.
Because I remember
gloves, yeah.
being jealous.
Yeah.
But then obviously we warmed up and it was not a
Right.
big deal.
So I ended up, and
It was still cold
You got
as
this
shit
big.
those nights though.
You have
It
big
was.
bulky clothes that you're storing, and then maybe you wear them for like a second, and then you realize you don't need them. So clothes was the big one for me. This
Yeah.
brought way too much.
Clothes and food.
Yeah.
well, let's get into it. Let's
Let's
throw some things
that's
out there.
That's what comes to mind first for us. What's is there like a top, or in terms of
I don't think there was like a ranking of all of them. I just kind of went through and did some keywords and a little
Yeah.
bit about what that was. Do you guys have any others that come top of mind?
Oh gosh,
Or do you want me to just kind of list some of the
Why
ones
don't
that
we
I
go
have?
through the list and we can kind of like talk about our own experiences and why it's important to make sure that that you don't
I have
make that
more that
mistake.
if we don't see them on here, I can talk about. 'cause,
So
yeah,
the other one I have is not breaking in gear.
that's a good one.
So wearing new boots or or a pack you're doing for the first time, right? Without actually breaking them in. So
Risky.
boots are
Blister
interesting because
City.
depending on the shoe, and maybe Austin, you can talk a little bit more about this. Some of the boots they don't really need broken into if you're
Yeah.
doing newer boots. Correct me if I'm wrong.
so like modern like hiking shoes and boots are meant to be worn now and just go.
Right.
But you still want to break
You
them
should try
in
'em.
the sense of acclimating
Yes.
to them. So like making sure you don't get blisters.
Yes.
Make sure
And
your
that's where I was
sizing's
going
right,
with
all
that.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I will say this though. There are like, like if you think of the traditional, I call them like meatloaf boots, like the old like high top brown,
Meatloaf
old
boots.
school
Yeah.
camping boots.
The
Big
high
ol'
Sierras
heavy
or whatever.
boots.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
are going to need broken in.
For sure, right.
That's a different
Big
type
leather
of thing.
boot.
But most of the like modern hiking shoes and boots that you see from a lot of the top brands they're like running shoes where they don't need to be broken in and you can just pop them on and you're
Yeah.
basically ready to go. But
Yeah.
again, it's all about acclimating your foot and making sure that everything's okay. You're not
Yeah.
getting blisters and size.
I think
good.
the first thought I had was, are they going to fit your feet, and are they giving you blisters? Are you feeling any spots where they're rubbing? Are they? Do you have a good heel lock into it? Like
And most
that
of
kind
that
thing.
too is like most of these more modern hikers are more
Right.
technical materials. It's not like the olden days when they were like straight up like really leather boots.
Leather
right?
boots.
Right.
And that can be obviously like when broken in correctly. Like I have leather boots that when they're broken in are incredibly comfortable and
Yeah.
incredibly
Well,
like form fitting. But yeah, I would say the more modern.
That's what I
hiking
wore.
boot,
That's what I wore on Dolly 1, which was just the boots I had at the time, which were broken in, but I mean, they were effectively like steel toe work boots.
Yeah.
I mean, those things were boulders. And I remember like that would be on my list was footwear, because I thought it's like, oh, I have these boots, they can take anything. I do everything in these boots. So I can go
of
hiking
course
in them.
they're durable enough.
Yeah, of course. And it wasn't about durability. That was the least of my worries. It was about how heavy it is. And I think I've said this on the Dolly episodes we've done, but because of that, I remember leaving that trip and the muscles behind my knee were just ripped to shreds.
Well, that kind of leads into this next one, which was
all the
improper
lifting,
footwear.
Yeah.
Right.
So all the lifting of that heavy boot.
Austin, do you want to talk about that one too?
Not really.
You're the subject matter expert.
I knew this was going to happen. As soon as we decided this, I was like, I'm going to have to talk about my fucking boots again. On the first trip. Here we go again. Austin's talking about his canvas boots.
They looked great though.
They are awesome. No, so
I wore them a lot. I love the Palladiums.
they're great for
boots.
not camping and hiking.
Not for that.
Anything other
So
than this.
the story goes is, we were prepping for our first trip. We were going to Dolly Sods, and I know that footwear is important. I didn't go in thinking, oh, this will do. Like, I did my research.
Yeah, you tried some stuff.
I tried. I bought multiple pairs and returned them because they just didn't feel quite right. I just wasn't into it. I remember I got a pair of like Solomon like trail runners. I got a pair of Danners.
Yep.
Danners. I tried a couple and they just weren't quite right. Like the Solomons, they slipped off my heel a little bit. They were a little bit too narrow, a little bit too racy. The Danners felt a little too sloppy, too big, too floppy on me. So I went with something that was canvas and had a rubber bottom that had some tread that I was like, oh, this will be fine.
Something you were used to that was broken.
Yeah,
and
felt comfortable.
I was used to.
Yeah.
It was comfortable to me. It was the biggest mistake I made on my first trip because one, no sense of stability over time. You know, it's basically like a hefty Converse Chuck Taylor.
Yeah.
That's basically what it is. And so there just wasn't a lot of stability. It was pretty unstable. Also, we experienced a lot of water, a lot of wet areas, and they
squishy.
got sopping wet. And I don't wear Gore-Tex boots even now, but something like this just got heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it
Never
wasn't
dry.
a technical material to
Did-
dry.
It wasn't, right.
Didn't you
Yeah.
try and Scotch guard them? Was that the trip?
In the
we
car.
did?
I think we Scotch
I think
guarded
so.
like everything in
Yeah.
the car.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
were like, oh yeah, spray this shit on it.
Yeah,
It'll
it did
leave.
nothing.
Yeah, it was
No.
zero effect.
No, that was bad.
Ineffective.
I think I did Scotch Guard canvas. This is dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was dumb. Thinking that it's like, I was going to not penetrate this boot.
right. Because of a magic spray.
Chemical spray.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh, man.
we were smart.
We were.
I probably should have just gone. I should have taken my barefoot and gotten some Flex Seal.
Oh my
straight over
god!
my feet.
Did you know what I've
Has someone
seen?
ever tried that?
might-
No,
Flex
that's like
sealing your
the-
foot?
good idea.
I have
Cloudy
seen
with
this.
a Chance of Meatballs. You ever seen that movie? I have
Did you
kids,
watch it this
apparently.
week?
No, no, he does that basically. He creates this spray and then it's on his foot forever. and it can
Nice.
never go.
So I have seen people do this one thing where they'll put some kind of like saran wrap on their foot, and then they take duct tape and they duct tape their foot with the saran wrap.
Ugh.
And then they basically make like a
why?
waterproof. They make a waterproof like boot to then do river crossings with.
Yeah, you would
I don't
only
like
be
that.
able to use that for a little bit before, because your feet would
It
just
like
get
a one, yeah, it will,
moist and
you know, one
gross.
kind
On
of
rocks?
I don't like that.
Yeah,
I don't like that at
but
all.
it would keep your feet dry.
But at that,
Who
Get 'em
cares?
wet.
Just, yeah, get them wet.
what?
No, I know. I'm not saying
No,
to
yeah,
do it.
no,
I'm just
I'm not-
saying
I'm
I
not-
saw a video of someone do that.
That is like, dude,
Brian,
that's
Brian
those
slowly pulls out
No.
saran wrap and duct tape from his backpack.
That is
All right, I'm not gonna-
that is those
not doing
DIY.
that.
That is 100% those DIY home hacks where it's
Yeah,
like,
right,
here's
right.
a 10-step process
That might
to
have
do
been one of the
something
things.
that
It
you
might
could
have
do
been a
with less
5-minute
hack.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5-minute hack.
Oh my gosh, that's awful.
Not to put Austin under the microscope with the boot thing. I'll put myself under the microscope with this one, and I still am terrible at this. I think I do it almost every trip. I can never ever figure it out. Not hydrating enough. Oh, that is
That was a
definitely
big lead up to that. You really
Definitely.
Yeah, I was like, where is he
Not hydrating
going with this?
I never drink water. ever.
When
Even throughout the day at
probably
home.
should.
When Brian goes
it's awful.
to a pee break, it's just beat red.
Right, yeah.
It's not
It's
red.
just like this.
That would be more alarming.
Yeah, I guess
that
it's
would be a
orange.
little dangerous.
It
yeah.
is.
Orange,
It is
rust.
very dark. Yeah.
Burnt orange.
It's very dark.
It's not even liquid. It's just rust.
but that can lead to a lot of problems.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
I've had some issues on the last
That's
few
right.
trips
Yeah.
where you get headaches, you get fatigue, you feel slow, sloshy. It's just you need to hydrate. And I've been trying to do it better and better.
You never
But-
leaned in with like the noons and like
I need
with
to.
the hydration.
That's the
stuff
other thing
we
that
did,
I wanted
right?
to talk about. Liquid
Yeah.
IVs, noons, something
Yeah.
that you can
Elements.
put in your
Element
water.
Yeah.
multiplier.
Element's my jam.
Yeah.
Something that will give you a little bit more hydration, more than just what water would do, I guess. But yeah, definitely hydrate yourself.
Yeah.
For sure.
You know
And-
what's funny is that I actually learned this from marathon training is when you're doing marathon running, it's actually almost just as bad to overhydrate.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
which
yeah.
is crazy too, because you
Yeah.
think like, oh, well, why would
Can't you drown yourself? I think.
Yeah, you can
Yeah,
technically,
right, yeah.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah,
too
there's
much
certainly
water.
there's an
Sheer force of
optimal
will, yeah.
an optimal spectrum there for
Yeah,
sure.
but usually, the problem, especially as a new backpacker, not hydrating enough is definitely something that
One
can be a
thing,
big
and
mistake.
this I wouldn't say is necessarily a mistake. And if people are out there and they like, and this works for them, great. I just noticed it doesn't work for me. It's around hydration. The first trip out, I had the Camelback.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh yeah, my pack has this integrated thing. I can hang it in there, and it's great. And I had the bladder inside my backpack and the hose over my shoulder. It's like instant access to water. Great, this is perfect. This is awesome. I hated it.
Yeah.
It was
I hate it too.
awful.
We
So-
all are pretty anti-Camelback.
Yeah.
It's such a pain to fill up. If you when you do fill it up, then you have to purify.
take the
So we're
thing
doing
out,
iodine
you gotta-
tablets, or
yeah.
you're filtering into like this weird thing, and then you have to shove it back into a backpack that's already full of other stuff. And it was just the most. And I realized, I'm like, hey, and I have one right here. This thing
Yeah.
is like a godsend. It can do all the things you need. It's shove it in a pocket and you have water. And you think that those things that are super fancy and super
Convenient.
like,
So,
it's like
yeah.
all the convenience
I'm
in the
gonna
world,
say
and it's, a
something.
bottle's way better.
And I can't believe I'm gonna go there because I'm just sitting here thinking about it.
If you go pro bladder,
I'm not gonna say that in this. I'm not gonna say that to start. Let me defend this.
We're gonna get there.
he'll end there.
We're gonna get
instead,
there.
yeah.
Yeah.
and I'm just thinking through it.
I'm
So
ready
can't
for
wait.
this walk.
I can't wait.
Let's make it happen.
what I don't like, I have had the bladder, and everything you just said, I couldn't agree more with.
Yeah.
That thing, it's annoying to fill. It's annoying to get back in the bag.
It's hard to clean after.
It
is.
The,
Yeah.
the whole experience is generally frustrating, right? But you're gonna hate me for this. You specifically.
Hate's a strong word.
My Hyperlight system would essentially eliminate the difficulty of getting it back in the bag because I have pods.
Okay.
So in
Okay.
theory, I could get the 1 liter, 1.5 liters back in my bag incredibly easily.
That's true. If you have the pods, you have the thing.
It would
Yes.
eliminate that challenge.
But you still have to take them out, put the thing in, and then repack your shit.
And you can't filter.
Three pods?
Filtering into it is then you still have to have something else, the squeeze bag or a bottle that's going to
Right.
filter
I'm still
into
going to
that.
take a catadine no matter what. I already
Well, right.
take the catadine and the squishy bottle.
Right.
Yeah, you'd take that anyways.
I might now try it. I'm intrigued. I already have the bladder, so it's not like I'm going and buying a new product.
How you'll get over the hurdle of me poking a hole in the bottom of it when you do put it in your bag. That's what I'm curious.
That's the
Little
other
super
part.
glue,
That's the
little
other
duct
part
tape.
that's hard is like if you don't have a bunch of dry bags and stuff like that in your backpack and you do get a puncture in that thing,
Yeah.
when it has water in it, all your shit is now wet in your pack.
I will say that was a very big fear of mine.
Or
when I first took it.
Yeah.
I would say most of them now have 2 connections for that tube, right? The one that plugs into the bag, and then sometimes there's another one in the middle that's like an inline that you can put like a filter in if you wanted.
Yeah.
Right? But like, what if you don't put that in properly all the way to the bag.
Leakage.
You're leaking. Boom, done. Like
There's also-
so then you're like 3 liters out.
Put it in a
Right.
bag. I mean,
There's also
double cover
So
it.
you're gonna do more
Yeah, see,
work.
it's
to just-
complicated.
yeah, you're just complicating stuff.
There's
I hear
also
you.
like if you're
Convenient,
using the
not
hose,
so convenient.
Right.
If you're using the hose and it gets cold at night, then
you've
the
got
hose
freezing.
can freeze.
Yeah.
And you never know exactly how much you have left until it's gone, and you're
Right.
like, crap, now I got to fill with the bottle. You know exactly where you're at. You can
Yeah.
ration. I know you're not like super pro. There's a lot.
I'm not like screaming it from the
Right.
mountains. I'm just saying.
You're playing the side. You're playing both sides of the
I've
fence.
now
You can
talked
see it,
about it
respect it.
and eliminated
Yeah.
some of the challenges.
Right.
Yeah.
I think there's still a lot more beyond that.
You know what? The cleaning part of it is a huge pain in the ass
Yeah.
because I have
Yeah.
one for running, for long distance running, and I hated cleaning that thing. It just always get moldy.
Gotta
But
put it
I
in the
had
freezer.
a fix. Yes, I put it in
Yeah.
the fridge. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that helps.
That's
like,
what people do when they just put them in the freezer.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. That's the way to
And
do
for
it.
Just gotta
running,
go with
like,
the
I think-
those soft flasks, dude.
I think it has
Those are the way to go.
I think it
Not
has
a
a
bladder.
good.
Not a flask
I think it
guy.
has a
Yeah.
really good
Flasks are no.
They're awesome.
No good.
You're crazy.
They can't. Oh, actually, we have a good example of this on the trail too. They do have a really good use case. Running is one of them, but also those. What were they doing? The ultra guys who were doing running,
they had
who
the
ran
little
through us and went
backpacks.
through the river,
Yeah.
and they were going all the way to Mitchell, I think.
Yeah.
They were doing fast pace, not stopping,
Right.
not carrying a whole backpack. Just had the little hydration, so the little camelback,
Right,
and then
yeah.
some food and stuff. That's fine. That's because but you're not shoving that inside of another bag
Right.
that has all your other stuff. in it.
Right.
That's how mine
So,
is. It's like a
yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
a sleek pack with it's
I've got
smaller,
I've got a
4
Solomon one
liter
that's
or
like that
whatever.
too.
So there's
Yeah.
probably people out there who absolutely love the bladder and it works great, awesome. Not my bag, but again, beginner
Not
mistakes.
my bag, baby.
And it's like I learned I didn't like that, and then I found other systems that work. So that's part of the process.
Nice.
Yeah,
I gotta
What
see
else?
if I can find mine. If I can, I'm curious now.
I still have the one
I've
that
got
we,
two that you
but
can
I-
have if you want them.
I agree that it's certainly the ease of the smart water bottle.
Yeah.
It's going to be difficult to beat, and it won't beat it. But I'm intrigued. I like
Yeah.
the hose thing, but not knowing how much water you have, that part
Right.
I don't.
Yeah.
like.
yeah, that's
true.
tough.
It's tough.
Yeah.
And if you want to flavor it, it becomes way more difficult to do that, and then you got to clean that out.
I don't have that problem.
I don't. That'd be weird.
It'd be weird.
I was looking up pros and cons of it, and I think the best one is no great gulps.
If you want a great gulp,
Man, there's a T-shirt hashtag no great golf.
No great
That's
gulps when you use a
good,
bladder.
dude.
You
oh my
can't do
god,
it.
that's amazing.
Well,
You
I'm
have
out.
You have,
I'm out.
You have one of the bladders, and you put the circle with a line through it, and then underneath it says "No great
No
gulps."
great
Oh,
gulps.
look at that T-shirt.
Yes,
Keep
that's a
golf on the
sticker.
trail.
That's a sticker.
That's a good. Think about it. That's a good
Hashtag
point.
gulping.
When
Yeah.
you're real thirsty and you get that, get that great gulp. You know,
I will say, in the
baby.
water coming out of a smart water, you can
Oh,
just
yeah.
you know
You don't
coming
get
out,
that.
Let her rip,
You don't
man.
get that.
Oh my, oh my. Yeah, that. You don't get that.
you don't get that. That is
All right,
beautiful.
well, let's move on. We've been on bladders
What do
for
we
like
got
about
now?
45 minutes.
How about ignoring weather forecasts?
Yes.
Listen, we can't talk about this that long. That sounds like, yeah, that's fair. I get it. But if you're not checking the damn weather when you're going out into the woods for days at a time, like,
Yeah.
you know, maybe you shouldn't be going out in the woods.
I will though say sometimes it is hard. Weather can be difficult depending on where you
completely.
are. When you're in
Right.
the mountains and stuff
You
like
can
that,
only predict
stuff
so much.
changes really fast. Some of those mountains have like their own weather patterns, and so it is difficult. But that goes into
Preparedness.
part of preparing
Leave no
for
trace.
the trip.
I think, to me,
Yeah.
it's more about preparing for what could happen rather than being like up to date with what is happening immediately. Because how many
Right,
times
right.
have we gone on tours where like it's going to be like this,
Right.
and this, and,
And then
it's
it's
not.
not. Right.
But
Yeah.
we prepare for it to be
Sure.
the worst.
Right.
So it is. Yeah. It's not even. It's not. The mistake isn't not considering the weather. It's not considering the climate
yeah.
and
Right.
historical weather during that time that you go.
Yeah. And how it impacts other decisions you're making. Because we go back to the clothing thing. It's like I thought it was going to be super cold and it was going to range anywhere from 20 degrees at night to like 60 during the day.
It said 0% chance.
Right.
I'm not
Right.
taking a raincoat.
So I need to have all these things. It's like, no, you just
Yeah.
know the weather, know what's likely to happen, know what could happen, and then have a good system that can react to all those things.
I
You know,
used to
it's-
check the historical weather patterns for the,
Oh yeah,
for the places we were going.
I mean,
for
it's a
those
good
states
it's
we
a
were
good
going.
thing to look at to
Yeah.
get an idea of what the coldest temperature and worst weather could be.
Yeah.
till we're at the Whites, and it's like, oh yeah, there was once a wind gust of like 272 miles an hour. It's like
the
I
highest
don't wanna deal
wind
with that.
gust recorded
in
on
history.
Earth,
right
in
Like,
history.
crazy.
I don't know how to prepare for that.
That's crazy. Yeah. So just be careful with the weather. Make sure you're planning ahead with that. The other one I saw too was just inadequate nutrition. So
Food. Yeah.
not packing the right kind of food.
And
We've
we've
seen
seen
this
that.
before. We've seen what happens. It's scary.
Yeah.
Luckily we had some overpackers
Don't name
on the
names.
trail, and so we were able to kind of
Remedy the
fix
situation.
that. But make sure that you're looking at the calorie intake. I used to
Calorically
plan
dense.
Well, and
every
Well, look
day
at
and make
those-
sure I
I
was
will
at a
say
certain
it's
calorie
different
macros.
for everybody else.
Absolutely.
Right?
That's why you have to do it for
You
you.
gotta know your body.
Right?
And know those
Yeah.
macros, as we learned on
Jeopardy
Jeopardy last
Jeopardy.
episode.
Oh, God.
That's,
Trail Thea party.
yeah.
Yep.
Fats.
Get those fats in.
Bring
but
a
yeah.
full avocado.
If you're expecting to live
Spoonfuls
on
of
that,
peanut butter.
I've done that. I've
I
done that.
remember, in a glass container.
It was plastic,
I know.
you idiot.
Was
But-
it plastic?
Yeah.
I do remember.
It was still Tupperware.
No, it was beautiful. That's why you thought it was glass.
It was still straight up
It was
Tupperware.
a gorgeous,
It was
clear
very clean.
plastic.
Microplastics.
That's another. Don't bring Tupperware on a backpack.
Hey, I mean that's a personal choice
that is.
here.
No,
It
but
worked.
yeah,
I
you
had to
can't
protect some sensitive
don't ex-
foods.
Some goods.
don't expect to live on like literally nothing but ramen and like no protein. Like you
Yeah.
need to have
Have a
treat your
balanced
body
diet
right.
still.
Treat your body right.
What is nice though, a lot of the backpacker foods, a lot of the freeze dried foods, we've tried a ton of them. We've been lucky. We've been able to get some sent to us. It's been great. A lot of those, number one, taste great now. Number two, they give you the calories that you need. So
Get some of that peak refuel. Get some of that Ready Wise.
yeah, they've got the stuff. They've got a
right.
ton of different flavors and a ton of different
my
offerings
gosh.
for people. So
Yeah.
they've got vegan options. They've got carnivore options. There's all kinds of stuff. So there shouldn't really be an excuse for not being able to pack the right amount of
And
calories.
the
right amount
beauty of
food.
it right now
Yeah.
is I would actually say that it's a hot item. Like it's popular.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So the spectrum of options is insane. Like
Right.
you're gonna find something.
I'm
you
trying
like.
to think. I'm trying to think if when we started, if I know a few brands right off the rip that have come out since we started, but if it was really only like 3 brands at the time, or if that's just what my
It's
exposure
probably
sure
was.
it was
what
more,
we've
but-
seen. There's probably more, but like what was like ready for us, like in stores, like
like
it
Mountain House and
it
Backpacker
was, yeah, it was
That's
at
all it was
REI.
basically.
It was
I thought that
at
was-
your local camping shop.
I
It
thought
was
that's all that
at
existed at the time.
Walmart.
I can't remember the names off the top of my head, but I just went to our local place, Appalachian Outfitters, last week, and they had 3 brands I'd never heard of before.
Really?
Yeah, like new ones I'd never seen. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, shit.
Hell yeah.
So I got to show you guys.
Yeah.
'cause
Yeah,
that was
that's.
interesting.
I mean, it's just exploded in the last several years of new brands coming out with
There's
I
really
would
cool
say
tons
stuff.
most,
of options.
most of them
Yeah.
are really good too. So yeah, there's a lot of options for food. So just make sure you're getting enough calories and enough nutrition for what you guys are going to be doing.
for sure.
How about not practicing with a loaded backpack? That's something that we did do before
Oh
we
my
went out
God,
on
we
the
did.
trail.
We had a
test,
whole
test run.
We probably
did a
were
little
so
test run.
silly.
But you know what?
No,
Who
I don't
cares?
care, yeah.
Because like you pack your backpack with the stuff you're going to take.
Go outside.
And go out and do a small hike. Do 2-3 miles or
And
something
the-
like
and
that.
the
Really feel what
footwear.
it feels like.
And
yeah,
the-
try everything out. Your pants, your clothes. Make sure nothing's rubbing weird. Make sure that you know how to pack your backpack. That's
true.
a huge thing too. I would say that's not even listed. I didn't even think of that until just now. But
Oh,
packing
packing?
your pack,
yeah.
the right way.
I remember the first few times packing the pack, like at home.
Yeah,
I remember-
It was so different each time. 'Cause
Yeah.
I didn't really have a strong
I remember
sense
all of us
it.
packing in your basement at your
Yeah.
old house.
Yep.
And I packed in that one night. I packed it 3 times because I
Yeah.
would pack it.
Like, that didn't work.
Yeah, and I'm like that doesn't
Right.
That's
fit
weird.
right, and unpacked it,
Something
and then we
digging
waited
into my hip.
and then packed it again.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and yeah,
What's
because you
that
got
bubble?
you have to basically also not just to find like the correct way to pack it that's comfortable for you, but also to practice doing it out on
Right.
the trail.
Sure.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
you're gonna have to
Right.
put the whole thing back together, right?
Yeah.
It's like
It's a puzzle, man.
it's like doing a Lego, smashing it, doing it again,
Yeah.
smashing it, do it again, because you gotta do it the right way.
Dude, Paul, don't move from this. But like, you have a picture up right now of a backpack, and like and then it's separate from like everything that's inside of it. This is why I love the pod so much.
I know. Look at how much shit is there,
much
man.
stuff. Oh man, there's different compartments and different bags for each thing. It's just that's
I
why
wish
I
I
love
could
the
go
pods.
back in time
Yeah, I don't mind that though.
and,
that doesn't make me.
throw my first trip pack on my back and just
I still
feel
could.
it now.
Oh no, I can't.
With like everything, like
I sold
identical.
everything.
Because
I
it
sold
would
my
be
first
ridiculous.
backpack.
all,
so
all
heavy.
45 pounds of it. Yeah,
It was
We
so
were heavy.
We're
We
heavy.
were very heavy.
yeah.
Yeah, very heavy.
Yeah, you could tell from the picture.
Yeah, man, it's
It
crazy.
was- I think I was definitely over 40. I feel like it was probably 43, 44.
But the other part is not just like making sure that everything kind of fits right and like you're packing well, but like if this is your first time, you don't know what 30 pounds or
Yeah.
or
And
even
it-
20 pounds feels like on
Right.
your back for a long period of time.
Right.
So
Paul,
like
scroll back.
packing with that, like before I did my Rainier trip, I packed my bag with like 65 pounds, 70 pounds worth of stuff.
Yeah.
And I packed it in a way where I knew, my balance was going to be right. But I wanted to make sure that I knew what it felt like to have big weight that I wasn't used to just going uphill
Right.
Yeah.
There's a certain level of
over and over and
preparedness, for
over and
sure.
over again.
Right.
And if you're putting it on like that night in at your old house and down there, we were joking about who's
feels
heaviest
kinda
and whatever,
heavy.
and it's like you put it on, it's like it's gonna feel good for that, or even if you go on a mile hike, it's like it's gonna feel
You're right.
okay. All right, 10 miles.
Right.
Like now,
Yeah.
and I remember
Now where
that
am I
first.
repping?
So everything hurt after that first trip. I was
sore
for a
for
week.
days. Yeah, man.
But my feet
Days.
hurt, but my
So
the shoulders and back and everything up here from just all that weight and not having been used to it for one, and it being too heavy.
Dude, yeah, the neck
Just-
and shoulder
yeah.
spot
Yeah,
right,
right
here
here.
Absolutely.
was,
Just
was so
shredded.
sore.
That last day.
What's funny
dreading to
though
put
is
it
like
on.
I don't get any of that now.
not at all.
Yeah,
No.
I think that's the most dumbfounding part. I remember early, like probably the
That's
first
the
two
difference between
trips.
15 pounds.
I remember.
Yeah.
I remember
And
taking
probably
a
30,000
break
steps,
in the afternoon
you know?
and sitting down and feeling like, man, I really don't want to chuck that thing on my back. I
Yeah.
really don't want to.
Yeah.
Right.
And like now, I mean, don't get me wrong. There's times where I'm like a little exhausted, but there's never a point where
You're
I
dreading it.
pick the pack up and I'm like, oh shoot, this old thing. Like, I don't feel that way anymore.
This old
and
leg.
my,
It's
and
just
my
a
pack
backpack
isn't
now,
even
yeah.
like. I mean, with my camera stuff, it's not even the lightest that it could be. But I have it to a point where I'm just comfortable with what it is, and I've
and it just becomes
accepted
it just becomes part of you when you're out there. Like,
So
you're
Paul,
like, you know.
pull that last photo you just had up. It was this red one to the right, a little farther,
Another- one
pack in
more.
your backpack.
To the right of that one.
Oh,
That one.
Here's
Pull
where
that one
your
up.
water bladder goes.
So,
Here's where
real quick, I just want to criticize this real quick because
So
there's
much
so much
loose-
shit in
just
there.
loose stuff.
Loose.
Towels.
Like, what the towels and
What
is
are
that
we doing?
That looks
we
like
going
a,
to the beach.
it looks like a picnic table.
That water
cover.
bottle looks like it's made out of tin, like it's a metal water bottle.
aluminum.
I don't know.
Yeah, dude, that's not a good.
That's
way to pack your bag.
that looks like someone going to a beach but decided to.
All right, let's challenge. And we've got pics of like bad and like big packs. If you're listening or you're watching on YouTube and you have a funny picture of an early trip of you in a big backpack, and we'll
Yes.
share, some
Yeah,
of
share
ours,
some of
whatever.
ours.
Yeah, we'll share ours.
Send one in, and it would be funny for us to do like a recap of like. Just maybe we do like a reel of everybody's funny pictures of,
Sure.
of
Yeah,
backpacks.
for
Maybe
sure.
we'll
Yeah.
collect them over a couple of weeks. But send us a picture in of your big ass pack if you have a picture of a big crazy pack, because it'd be fun to show some funny ones.
Trailtheorypod@gmail.com is the email, or you can just I don't know.
DM
Because
us.
I know
DM us.
everybody that's
Yeah.
ever backpacked has that one
I
shot
get-
where it's like, look at that thing.
Right.
Look at that thing.
Like
And I can
What was I
I'd be
thinking?
comfortable in saying, I think without exception, every single person who's ever backpacked, their first time, if they were to look back at it, they're going to say, I overpacked.
Wouldn't do
Oh,
that
absolutely.
again.
I mean,
Which
as
is
good
funny
as,
because
know,
when you think of mistakes, you think of like, oh, you forgot this and you're in danger because of this. But I think for
and both can be true. It's like I'm
both
going
can
to
be
overpack
true.
and forget the stuff that I actually needed to bring.
yeah, maybe
You know,
And then you can overpack and not be able to get through the trail with all
Right.
that stuff.
yeah, bringing cast iron pans and bags of wet clothes. Like
but didn't
Austin.
bring up. Yeah. Hey, that's my pack, dude. Don't judge.
Go up here and watch that one. Here's one that Pfeiffer still doesn't do. Are you guys ready for
Oh
this?
boy, yeah, go for it.
not researching the trail.
That's why I got you guys, man. I just outsourced that job to somebody else.
Outsource.
Not
that job.
familiarizing yourself with the route, the difficulty, or specific challenges.
Google man.
Yeah.
You just like being out in the wild.
I just like being out in the wild, guy. Now, if I was going, we've talked about this before. If I was going on by myself,
Solo,
I wouldn't just.
yeah,
I wouldn't
you
just,
would prep more.
throw it out
I would
there,
say
but-
this like I'll give you some props, Mr. Dude Man over there.
Mr. Google man.
This guy,
I probably
take
like
it.
if I went out, I would not feel comfortable. I mean, I would try my best, but like hanging a bear bag, like I would probably have some difficulties because I don't know off the top of my head how to do it. I
No?
can kind of envision it, but at the same time, like you do the thing.
Listen,
you've got comfortable just
Not-
relying on him.
You've
Right,
outsourced
exactly.
that
Right.
job.
I've
Right.
outsourced
Yeah,
it.
you've
So
outsourced
I
We
will
all lean
say,
on each other.
the most prepared I am is when my wife and I go.
Yeah.
And I will say the last time we went, hanging the bear bag was a total pain in my ass.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, again, like not because I understand it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was kind of just a difficult spot. We were at the Red. And it was just not a good spot for
Yeah.
like big trees. Everything was
Right.
kind of little. So that was unfortunate. I got stung by some animal of some sort. I got a big sting on my arm while I was doing it. And of course, I'm like, man, of course this is happening
Yeah.
when, Pfeiffer is not with me. So yeah, but I mean, it made it work.
We all-
our
yeah.
food
we all
didn't
got
get
our-
taken, but
Right.
yeah, it does. It was kind of a pain. Like
Yeah. And we also, when we go, and I would, it's not that I don't enjoy the researching part. Like when we have our meetings where we're choosing trails and stuff, it's like I like seeing that, but knowing that we're going as a group and we all kind of lean on each other for different things, that gives me the opportunity. It's like I can just sort of show up. And not that I'm completely out of the loop on
and you have
everything else.
safety.
But what if
safety
we
knowing
all?
we
but
all
it's-
know.
What if we all die and you're the only one left? What are you gonna do?
Well, I'll just
Survival.
save all of you. What are you talking about? Like,
Jeez, here we go.
I'm Superman.
just gonna save all of
no,
you.
and I mean, yeah, I'm not going in completely blind. But
I'm Superman.
but also, and we've talked about this on other episodes. Wow, that was tough to get out.
Blah, blah,
Um,
blah, blah, blah.
Wow, you're gonna
But-
save all of us. You can't even save that
Yeah.
sentence.
once we're out there, and if we're doing a loop, especially, it's like I'm aware while we're out there. I know what the plan is. I know
Sure.
where we're going.
Yeah.
and it's like if anything happened, we're a group. I can.
You were a part
we're
of
good.
you were a part of half of the meeting where we chose the route and saw a little bit of the route
Right.
being planned, so you know the shape of it.
What's the shape going to do me out? We're in there,
Hey,
a
I
big
have
old
another
circle.
I
can't-
have something else that some beginners make mistakes based on what you just said. Overconfidence.
Yes,
Yeah.
dude, for sure.
What do you
Biting
think
off
about
more than
that
you
one,
can chew.
Superman?
When has that ever failed me?
well, if it isn't my great decisions going on.
So like, probably like one of the main things with overconfidence when it comes to first time backpackers is biting off way more than you can chew
Dude, yes.
in the height in the trail that you
Miles.
pick in the miles that you pick. Now,
Which, hey, we're all guilty of that.
Yeah.
we're
Yes.
guilty of that, but I will say one thing that we've always done is we've always made sure we've picked places where we can adjust
Yeah,
and
we
have
we
an
find
out.
other trails
Yeah.
to
Yep.
make sure that
Yeah.
hey, this 40 miler was a mistake. Let's turn it into 32 or whatever.
And that's why familiarizing yourself with the trail and
So
the
you can
other
be
trails linked
prepared
through, you can be prepared to
that.
do that
Yeah.
and make a
exactly.
Hey, we're just gonna not go the long way around. We're just gonna do
So-
this cut through here.
On that note, I'm just sitting here going through my brain. Have we ever done a trail where we've stuck? I guess a couple.
Yeah.
stuck
That we've stuck
exactly.
exactly,
like
sure,
yeah,
yes.
we have.
I mean,
Yeah.
you look at the winds. Like,
but I would say,
um,
50%. There's always some little variable that
Variation.
gets tweaked.
yeah.
It's always like, we can cut this little section. There's like a kick out or whatever that kills the
There was-
road or whatever. There's things.
There was a massive variation that we did on one of the trails. We were like, we're gonna do 45 miles
I
in
remember
3
this.
days.
I think
Cranberry.
it was cranberry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Luckily,
And,
what we
yeah.
planned on doing, we planned on going back in and kind of making almost like a horseshoe shape and then going back up and coming out.
Yeah.
But we were able to just go up and just go out from
Two
there.
things happened. One, we had a river crossing that was pretty intense that we were not prepared for. That took a while to get across.
Yes.
Number two,
We didn't
got
have
lost.
the boats.
Yeah.
The
The
rafts.
well, it had
We got- yeah, we-
it had got a ton of rain.
Yeah.
That like whole month, and I even called in to the park ranger office and was talking to a very nice woman. I'm sorry, I can't remember her name.
Shout out to Jolynn.
Julie?
I have no clue.
I want to say it's Julie.
This is like 5 years
This
ago.
is a while
Yeah,
ago,
it was a
and
long
I
time
think it's
ago.
Julie. But she had mentioned that the trail had gotten completely washed out in one of the sections, and it was very hard to find, and it was in the exact spot where we got lost.
And she was right.
She was
right.
100% right.
The
real lost.
river crossing was interesting because we had never had anything like that. I mean, thinking back on it now, we probably just would have saw it and been like, all right, let's get down on our skimpies and
Right.
Yeah.
cross. Because it was like about a little above waist.
Yeah, it was
some of
moving,
the
though.
in some
But
of
it
the
was
sections
moving.
we did find a section that was I
calm.
think we
Upper thigh.
it was
like,
upper
yeah.
thigh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was moving. I mean, some of us had like long sticks to help support ourselves
Yeah,
so we
yeah.
wouldn't fall in.
I forgot my upper thigh is Austin's waist, so that's why he's thinking. Of it.
yeah, that's true.
That was rude. That was rude.
Easy, Superman.
Whatever. I don't. The taller you are, the harder you fall. I don't know.
That's
man.
what it is,
We
yeah.
just have better center of gravity.
That's
here.
right.
Exactly, yeah,
Sticks
the,
over
the
here.
weather up here is different. I don't know.
Yeah.
Weather. You're like 6 foot.
How about neglecting leave no trace principles?
I think
Is that
I think
that's-
that happens a lot.
And that's
A
not just
beginner?
beginners.
It could be everybody,
right.
100%. Like I said in the beginning, it's not
Yeah,
just
yeah.
beginners that do this.
Now,
it's a
I
lot
would
of people.
say beginners may do it unintentionally,
Right.
more often, and as you learn and then still decide to do it to break it anyway, then it's just shame on you. But yeah, I mean, as a beginner going out, you're probably not thinking of like all the stuff you should be doing. You're
There
just
are 7,
Yeah.
right?
Do you think we've
Yes.
ever been perfect with Leave No Trace?
no.
We're getting way
very,
better.
very,
I would
very,
say the
very
last
close.
few times
Think
pretty perfect. I
there's a
think.
big sliding scale
pretty
there of
close.
what you
Yeah.
say perfect is, though, because there's things
adhering
that-
to the 7 principles,
right. But I think even the adherence within them, there's some areas.
Sure.
There's
Sure.
some flexible
Variables.
areas.
So the 7 for those that don't know, plan ahead and prepare. That's number 1. You should be doing that with everything. Okay,
Unless you're going with your friends and,
unless you're Pfeiffer.
As long as the group is planning ahead and preparing.
Sure.
Yeah.
it's fair. I'm
Travel
I'm
and-
just teasing. I love you, buddy.
Travel and camp on durable surfaces. Okay, so established trails. Don't go off trail. Right. That's what that means.
Yeah.
Avoid walking
the camp
through.
piece is sometimes hard, though.
It can be.
Yeah, it can be.
That can be a hard one to follow. Dispose of waste properly. You should be doing that. No questions asked.
Yeah.
Pack
Please-
in, pack out.
Thank you.
That
Pack
one's
in,
like
pack
no
out.
exceptions. Don't leave trash. Back in, back out.
Leave what you find. Okay. That's why the Karen thing. We talked about that in the last episode. Right?
It doesn't say don't murder other hikers.
Well, that would be leaving a trace.
There's blood over here.
Well, if you
In a blood
Yeah.
Oh God. That's
But
not
you
a-
would be disturbing the
that's
ground
not
that
a
way.
cat hole.
Whatever.
as long as you pack
This,
it out.
I hate this game because you can basically make it.
I
It's
know.
like, why even go outside? I
know.
Yeah,
I know.
right.
It's
Leave
hard.
a trace.
We've talked about that.
This
before.
is-
It's like,
kick
This is
the dirt.
Austin's favorite. Minimize campfire impact.
That's right.
Right? Respect wildlife. You should be doing that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's not hard.
don't mess
on,
with
that's not
animals.
hard.
okay?
Don't
be a
whiz on a
dick.
butterfly.
on.
Yeah, keep your distance from an animal. You don't need to be going into their space. You're already in their home, so leave them alone. And then being considerate of others. What?
Nothing. This is what I said made me laugh.
Oh, I didn't hear.
I said just don't whiz on a
Just
butterfly.
pee on a
Oh yeah,
butterfly.
don't do that. Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
And then the 7th is being considerate of others. All right.
Yeah.
Now the last one there, being considerate of others. Beginner backpackers, we've seen this happen on
You're gonna
trail.
talk about the radio. aren't you?
JBL.
Bring a speaker with you.
Don't do it.
Don't bring
do
a
it.
Bluetooth
Don't do it.
speaker. You don't need to listen to your crappy music. I don't want to listen to your crappy music, even if it's the same music we like.
Right.
I
Doesn't
don't
belong.
want to listen to your music.
If you really, really feel like you have to,
I'm passionate about that.
I have a funny story.
wear headphones, but I'm going to judge you like crazy.
I have a funny
Don't do
story.
it.
Oh, but
No-
I
no
would
speak.
say if you research, I would say a ton of people wear headphones on like
Oh,
AT.
and I'm cool. I'm cool with
Right.
like doing that.
And actually, I
Bring
have
earbuds.
some issues with that outside of just like the principle of you're outside, you should be outside, right?
there are
You're not
some
bothering other people.
Well, you're not bothering
I
anyone
understand.
else.
I know, so you're not breaking a principle. But
That's
one
your
other
principle, though.
Yeah,
No, no, no,
That's
I'm saying-
that's a personal
Right.
opinion.
Where so, but yes, so the JBL speaker where everybody can hear it that
Right.
breaks
If
that.
you're carrying a boombox, that's a
you're-
problem.
In terms of the Leave No Trace, you're fine. But I have another issue with it: is that you're outside and you now can't hear anything. So first off, it's a safety issue for you potentially.
Sure.
And what if somebody's out there trying to signal and you can't hear them?
Now,
But what if you're only listening to one ear? One earbud.
True.
Still
or
limiting your
what if you
hearing
have
capabilities.
what if you have
Semantics.
awesome headphones, maybe by Audio Technica, a sponsor, that has a hear through function?
Yeah.
Hey, look
All
at
right.
that.
Maybe
So-
they're
We're
really
getting
back
into
headphones.
semantics here.
Yeah.
I think you should be out just being in nature. But I do think, like, if
There's-
I see someone with earbuds in or something, like, hey, what if I passed you 10 feet and just broke my leg? And I'm like, you're the only person there. You're 10 feet
Help!
away. And I'm like,
They'd probably
hey,
see
help!
you.
I
if you
know.
passed
I'm
them.
saying, I'm painting an extreme scenario.
you're just
but
like,
it's like, hey,
Yeah. You're on the bunny hill at the ski resort. Oh, help! I fall.
I
I
don't-
can't get up.
I don't
someone's
know.
just reaching out to you.
I don't know if
You
the
know.
headphones are getting as loud to where you can't hear like someone screaming for help or something like that. But regardless, yes, I do.
from far
I do
away?
agree. But there are people, like a lot of through hikers I know for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. They'll
They
listen
will.
to
They
stuff.
will listen to a podcast.
Because they're
Hopefully,
lonely,
it's our
man.
podcast.
Because there
Hopefully,
could
it
be
is.
some loneliness. If you go out by yourself, I've read a lot of articles of people
Yeah.
Right.
wearing headphones. And again, it's not like the entire day.
Sure,
I mean,
sure, right.
I've
Yeah.
also never through hiked to that length, so I don't
Exactly.
know. I mean,
And it's
after
a-
about 60 days hiking and
Right.
you know however many 100 some left to go, like I would probably want headphones too.
And
Yeah.
it's I think it's
get
a different world too, because we're going on something where it's contained, it's a circuit, and we're likely to run into quite a few people. I mean, you could be a through hiker, be by yourself, and not see anybody for 12 days.
Yeah, dude. Days.
And it's
Absolutely.
like, all right, live your life. But but if you're going out, especially if it's going to be around, no speakers.
Was that so that was all the Leave No Trace?
And actually,
was also
back to
happening in
Alice's
Dutch Race.
question. Now that I mean, we've talked about them a lot. I know what they are, but now listing them out again, I think we have. I think we've had
Yeah.
plenty of trips.
I agree.
Yes.
I agree.
Where
I think we've been
been fine.
damn close.
Yeah, I mean, even we're good with the fires. We don't.
Very
I
good
can
with the
count
fires.
one occasion where we had to create a ring that didn't pre-exist. I think
We're
there's
going
plenty
to
of
pretty
early on.
established
Yeah.
places too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't disagree. I think
and a lot of
pretty
times we're
clean.
taking out shit that somebody else failed to take out, and we're sort of helping.
It's like
things out,
playing
so.
Jeopardy. If you take someone else's trash out, you get more.
Sure.
If you're in the negative, you can come back to the positive.
Speaking of Leave No Trace, I have a question. Is it weird that I don't think litter in a city is all that bad?
Litter in a city.
It is weird.
Concrete is already litter. You've already littered the world.
So more is
No.
better,
I think
It's
or
just,
more is fine. No,
it just makes
two
it just
wrongs
makes
don't make
it
a
look
right, dude.
trashy and undesirable.
No, I understand
and
that. Cleanliness, I get it, but
There's
it's already
still
trash.
There's still animals and stuff
All
like
the
that. You don't want
buildings.
to
And
do
it's just
that.
gonna blow off the concrete and go into the trees.
Sidewalk is all litter
You're
already.
very
Garbage.
wrong.
Yeah. No, I think
I'm kind of
that's
just joking.
Yeah, I know. No, it's
you threw
It's
in
bad.
kind of.
I think it's funny you say that. I don't know. I don't know how to frame. I'm just gonna throw spaghetti at the wall.
I've
but
said this. Okay,
I
go
guess
ahead,
I'm
go
just like my mind. I can't help but think like we're talking about it, and we're all pretty serious about picking up trash, right? And I guess I'm just. It makes me reflect now how much trash is out there.
A lot.
yeah.
Like, do you think you could go in any city right now and walk for like 1 mile and not see trash?
no, in the city, absolutely not.
A lot of here's something interesting about Japan.
Oh yeah,
Japan
That's
is
true.
insanely clean.
They
Like
are.
Singapore is really clean.
Yeah.
because it's the pride of the people.
Right.
A lot of like retirees out there
Yeah.
spend their time cleaning,
Picking up trash.
and
Yeah.
picking up trash.
That's so admirable.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And when people are picking up trash, I think that is so. I don't know. I just think.
Oh,
that's
I
cool.
grew up with my dad's pickup
Getting
truck,
close.
the back of his pickup truck, filled with trash that he picked up off the side of the ground.
There's trash
Yeah.
there. It's scary.
Crazy.
Another one that I would say is bringing a bulky tent. Is that one that you think
Bulky?
would be
Is that-
bringing something
In
big?
what sense?
I guess, okay.
Packed, it's not easily packed down.
Yeah,
I mean,
not easily
are you bringing
packable.
a Coleman?
You're basically trying to
Love
pack
that.
like a camping tent, a car camping tent, instead of something that can pack down and fit in your bag the right way.
I would very much hope that nobody has done that, because like you go to the Walmart camping aisle, it's
Right.
got the Coleman ones, and they're almost as big as every single one I've seen is as big as a backpack. So
Although I would
pretty
I would
large.
argue I have I think it's a 2 or 3 person tent from when I was a kid, and it's not a backpacking tent per se, but like it wouldn't be god awful if I took it on.
Is your marmot technically a backpacking tent?
But that's my point.
That's
like,
big tent.
Again, like why would that? I don't disagree. It could be a misstep if you're
just carrying extra weight that you don't.
You don't
need
necessarily have to, but if you have a tent.
I mean,
is that better than like
Not
going and
having a
spending
tent?
$700 or $500?
Well, right. You don't need to spend that much money to get a backpacking
I agree.
tent.
Sure. I guess
So
I'm
you
just.
can
I think
spend
it's
$200 for a backpacking
I think that's a little.
tent.
There's a gray area.
Yeah,
there. Would be my only opinion.
I mean, even sleeping
Yeah.
bag is another piece of equipment that, like, I grew
have
up
it
with
on
the
here.
rolled
Yeah.
up
right.
sleeping bag that,
That
like,
doesn't have a stuff sack.
yeah,
and
right.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
thing was like bulky.
yeah,
and
it's
just
got
not,
like the
you
clip
know.
on it. Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
I have
I
that
think
on
I'm
here
pretty
too.
sure I had one that like for a long time I tied it up with a shoestring.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like-
Totally sounds right.
That's the stuff we brought to like camp.
Right,
You know,
to
like
camp.
not
Right.
to camp.
See, and
Well,
I-
let's
driving to
talk
camp,
about the
you know.
sleeping bag thing because that's one of the things. Choosing the wrong sleeping bag for the condition that you're in. So, like
Yeah.
that, I think I put in more for is the sleeping bag that you picked or have going to be suitable for the temperatures you're going to be in.
Right.
Because there's a difference between a comfortable temperature and a survival temperature, right?
Sure.
When they
agree.
list the temperature on the sleeping bag, if it's the Nemo Disco 30 degrees is not for you to be 100% warm perfect. It's actually more like 40 degrees. 30 degrees is like
somewhere
not
between
survival,
right, somewhere between
but
comfortable and
yeah,
survival.
Basically,
It-
it's like survival over
Yeah.
probably like a long period.
right,
You know.
right. So there's 3 different I guess
Ratings, basically.
ratings.
Yeah.
Thank you. That go into the sleeping bag, right? There's a survival. There's a I can't remember what the third one is. And Nemo actually has it on the sleeping bag. They specify
Yeah.
it, which
yeah,
is
there's
really
like a
nice.
comfort.
diagram.
There's
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
severe, and there's a survival. I think those
maybe
are
it
them.
is.
Yeah,
Maybe
that's
that's what it is.
interesting.
But
Yeah.
make sure that you're looking at that kind of thing. And maybe Paul, if you can check that out.
I think
as
some
we're-
of that
we're
too,
talking
though,
about
like
it.
is a lot of preference, right? Like if you have a ton of clothes, like I've been out there with.
Sure.
I've slept in all my clothes, but I sleep kind of cold outside. So again,
Or make
I
sure you
don't-
have a liner or
I
something
totally
like
agree
that.
that you should be mindful of it because just straight up, you should know.
Since we're
But
And then
on-
packability too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
packability is a big one. Since we're on the subject, I am like so close to clicking buy now on a new sleeping bag.
Yeah.
And because so I kind of like some freedom and flexibility with how packed down I am in the sleeping bag, so I am going with a quilt because I like
Are you
the
doing a quilt?
ability to do a little
Yeah.
bit,
Yeah.
be a little bit freer.
Love
Yeah.
that.
And I think it's 20 degrees is what I'm going with.
Yeah.
Which again, that, like to me, I
That's
feel like
pretty
that's
standard, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty standard. I think normally I would probably get like a 30
And also
or 40
for-
degree. I don't like.
yeah, I would
something
I would
that's
say
too
20
hefty.
is relatively
But like
low.
I think 20, yeah, relatively low in my opinion.
I've got.
yeah.
I mean, the disco Nemo's or the disco is 20, and
well, not all of
especially
them. There's,
not
there's,
all of
there's
them.
There's
multiple
different
ratings.
ones.
so the one I have is 20, and I think that's pretty standard,
No,
especially
I think yours
for.
is 15. It's the same one that I have. It's 15 degrees.
I'll have to check.
Yeah.
Either way, I know for the trips we go on, with as cold, even on the warmer ones we've done, when it gets down into like the 30s or 40s, it covers a wide range, and it's never going to be below that, or we
Yeah.
haven't done trips where it's below that. So
So-
I wouldn't want to get a 40, and then we go out to like Manistee, and it's 28 degrees outside, and I'm like, dang, now I'm cold.
This sucks.
I'd rather.
Or you
know.
need another sleeping bag.
So the
Yeah.
Nemo
Sucks.
website has ISO comfort and then ISO limit. So
Okay.
on what is this one? The what sleeping pack is this?
What is this? Disco Men's Endless.
That's the endless.
Endless promise.
I'm
Trademark.
seeing that there's a comfort, a transition, and a risk. So a T comfort and then a T limit is
Yeah.
on this one too.
Endless Promise sounds like an 80s ballad.
It sounds like a
It
band.
does.
Yeah,
It's
it's our next band. Endless. Hey, we're Endless Promise.
Promise.
This is our last one for the night.
But yeah, just make sure that you're getting the
Love you,
right
Nemo.
kind of sleeping bag or sleeping quilt. Ooh, is there a new quilt that they have?
It's endless.
Oh,
An
no.
endless
Endless
quilt.
promise.
Oh no!
Oh shit!
Here we go, guys.
Oh,
Now we're
endless
shopping.
promise.
Brian,
Oh,
your
Ultralight back
wallet
there.
is trembling.
Now we're
oh
shopping.
baby!
Look at that.
Look
How
at
much is
that
this bad boy?
Dude, it's probably expensive as
550.
shit. Yeah.
Whoa!
Yeah,
do the,
what is the temperature
long.
rating on
Sold
that one?
out too.
What's the long? I bet you it's like $600.
Well, yeah.
Oh,
only
580, okay.
580.
Yeah.
What's
think,
the temperature rating on that?
20.
20?
Endless. It's an endless
Wow.
promise.
Endless
That's expensive for 20-degree
80s metal.
Oh,
rubber
dude,
band.
not really. When you look at some of the other ones, you look at Enlightened Equipment. Some of their stuff is pretty expensive too. It's in the 4, 5, 6, 700.
So I think I'm going Enlightened Equipment, and the one I was looking at is like 350.
Yeah. Okay.
So
That's not bad. That's reasonable.
pretty
packed down
good.
real nice.
That's pretty
too.
good.
Good reviews.
Yeah.
Well, actually, Nemo Disco's 7, right?
700?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it was
No,
because
it's
I
like
got a half off. It was
300.
$350.
No, it's like 300, isn't it?
Yeah. I think.
Or
I
did I
think,
get both for $350
I
because
think
they were
you got
half
maybe
off?
both for
That's
Okay, man,
probably
it's gotta
what
be
you
it.
did.
Okay.
Because
Yeah,
like,
for
yeah.
sure. For
Yeah, when
sure.
you buy two.
Yeah, because they were. Or yeah, I had the 50% off. So I got
Endless
two of them.
Promise must be their
New like line
new
or
line.
something.
look at the little logo.
Yeah.
It's probably like lifetime guarantee
Listen,
of some kind.
they
They already have a lifetime warranty.
I
on
know,
most
and
of
maybe
their
it's something
stuff.
different.
and I just sent a pad in, and they sent me new
Brand new.
model, brand spanking new.
Woo.
That's
They
what they do,
does.
that's what they do with mine too.
They
Love you, Nino.
their customer support. Shout out to them. They
Yeah,
ruled.
that is good. You know what? There's another one. There's another one that I have on here too. It's neglecting foot care. So not treating blisters when you get them.
I've always been bad at that.
Don't let your blisters get out of hand.
I've always been very bad at and I
You
don't
just let them
get,
fester.
Well, I don't really. I've never really gotten
Uncle
them bad.
Fester.
And if I ever, I'm bad at when I do feel any little bit of rubbing or whatever. I usually just chalk it up. It's like, it'll be fine. And then it never develops into something crazy where it's some.
That's good.
And once I air it out for a little bit and overnight, so I've risked it too much to the
Oof.
point where I probably should have been like, hey, I'm going to stop, do this thing.
Give it a look.
And
On
I
the
think
edge of
I've just
infested.
gotten lucky, and it's just never developed into something bad. But
I
that is a
feel
good
like
one.
I've done the same.
Take
But I've
the-
taken
yeah,
that
really?
moleskin stuff before. I forget what it's called, but
Moleskin.
That's what it is.
Yeah, moleskin.
Yeah.
But
Or, what's the KT tape?
KT tape.
is what I use.
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
KT
Yeah, I
tape
gotta
is
roll
great.
that.
But I've never ever had like a really like monster. Like
Right.
we know some folks on the trail.
Yeah.
Like Andrew has had some honkers. Like he
Right.
has had like some silver
Yeah.
dollar
Golf
blisters.
balls.
Yeah, man.
Dude.
And
it
it's
looks like the
it's
sphere
never-
in Las Vegas just
Yeah.
rocking on the end of his foot.
Rough, bro.
Yeah, friggin' Titleist.
Yeah.
I've never really had, I've had some like abrasion.
I've
but,
had
Right.
some.
Yeah.
but it's been nothing where I know that if I go another day or so, I'm not going to put the trip at risk.
Right.
Like being really hurt because it's just I've never had a big blister issue ever. But
Well, not all socks are treated the same. Like just because you're getting like a wool sock or something like that, it doesn't mean that's going to be exactly what you need. I
Right.
On the first few trips, I just got like some wool socks from Target and was like, this is going to be, that's it. No, they're not the same thing. It's not the same thing as a Darn Tough or a Smart Wool or something like that. It is a different kind of thing. It's just, it sucks to spend $25 on a pair of socks.
But
Dude, it is so worth it.
I like the synthetic blend moisture wickening socks.
It is so worth it.
Running socks is-
This is
Yeah.
funny
That's what you're
because
using.
Yeah.
my cousin who did part of the AT before our first trip ever, I remember asking him, "Hey, what's some advice?" Right, and the first thing he said was socks.
Yeah.
And I remember kind of thinking like, "No,
Get out of here.
bro,
Socks.
I'll get some merino wool socks, whatever."
Yeah.
I got a pair or two, whatever. They were fine. They were good. But huge mistakes.
Yeah.
Dude, socks, man. Shout out Lieutenant Dan. Come on. Like, get real. It matters. It matters.
It does.
It matters.
yeah, it's the foot. We've seen some blisters can get nasty, and that's one of those things. It's just like when you do get one, even if you go and treat it, it's like once it's there, you're dealing with it now.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's
Like,
screaming at
it's
you
just,
the whole time.
That's just part of your life. You know?
Prevent it before it becomes
Right.
a problem.
So if you can, like,
Yep.
I'm always just. I think it comes from laziness. It comes from like I don't want to stop, take the boot off, get in my pack, do
Or
the whole
just
thing.
change your sock out.
Right.
Dude,
Yeah.
you can change your sock.
Dude, nothing
Yeah.
better than a midday sock change.
Oh yeah,
I don't
bro.
do that a
fresh
ton.
pair of socks.
I don't really, I very rarely have I changed my sock midday, but
Man, a dry,
if
a nice,
you're feeling it
dry,
and it's close,
crisp sock.
just get some KT tape on the spot
Yeah,
that
on the
is
burning
getting a
spot.
little raw.
Yeah.
Put that on immediately. Change your socks.
Yeah.
I used to change every trip in the middle.
that's right,
middle of the
yeah.
trip. I don't anymore. It's just not
yeah.
something I do.
I think that's the move. You just got to take care of your feet. You're going to be walking on them for the entire time. So
Sit down.
Sucks.
the only other one that I've got a few more, but forgetting sunscreen or not thinking about proper sun care.
Yeah, I've never
Never-
brought sunscreen.
never
You've
brought
never brought sunscreen.
I
Dude.
never have either, but I will
Man,
say
I've
I
been
have.
when
And
we did
yeah,
our
dude, it's not fun to get burnt, especially if you're burnt on your neck and you've got
Ooh,
a pack
yeah,
rubbing up
that's
against
true.
it.
Yeah.
Well, but and
Dude,
you,
no.
and you learned this, and then I learned it from you. But I know when we did like our sort of interview question thing that we posted a little bit ago, you mentioned the sun hoodies.
Yep.
And it's like, well, I'm never going to bring sunscreen. I if I'm going to the desert, maybe sure, but I'm like
desert.
what we do. But I'll bring a sun hoodie all
Sun
the
hoodie
time
for sure.
because man, that thing is like that is the sunscreen.
Yeah.
And it's comfortable and
Long sleeve.
yeah, it's like
most
great article.
I got a little bit of burn in the winds.
Yeah.
In the
Yeah.
Wind River Range. And I remember I had the sun hoodie. Sometimes the hood is annoying to me.
Really?
But I did wear it the next day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it helps. It's,
Yeah, when
it's
it's
a good call.
you know when it's back, you know you got the pack there and everything.
Yeah,
like
it's just
that.
kinda
The
like
thing's
a
just
bunched up.
fabric.
You
I don't
wear it.
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't
Oh,
want to
no,
wear
yeah,
it
you
the whole
just throw the
time.
hood up.
That's
Wear it.
Yeah.
That's what.
Yeah.
That's why you have it.
I've never owned one.
And it protects all this, and that's all I
Everything.
care about. Because if I get a little windburn or sunburn on my face, which is going to happen anyway, it's like I could, you know. I
And
don't
the
care.
nice thing about that too is when the wind blows through, it literally goes into the
Yeah.
hoodie and
guy
down
loves,
your back.
loves the wind.
It's
Hey.
great.
The wind, man.
I'm with Brian on this one. Sun hoodie's a
Yeah.
move. Like that's
I have
it's
it.
clutch.
I bring it.
Yeah.
I like it.
It's
I just
awesome.
don't want to wear a hood the whole trip.
Are you sure that your face is red from the wind, or were you just crying because the hill was hard?
Maybe both.
Talking about Superman?
Talking about I don't
Maybe both.
Super.
No,
I
oh
thought it was
Linville.
Superman.
No, Linville I was crying.
No, I'm kidding.
Another over reliance on technology.
Yeah, I can see that.
Just for. I know, dude. I know we all use All Trails or whatever GPS app you're using now and stuff like that. I'm gonna take my hood off, and they're great.
No
They're accurate.
UV down here.
They work, but if your phone dies and you can't charge it,
you
or
drop
if
it
it
in the
falls
lake.
into a river or a lake or water or it's overheated and something happens and you don't have another way to navigate
Yeah.
getting back or how to get to the car or through to the next town, you're screwed.
Yeah, And
Like
I think,
unless you run into somebody
true.
else on the trail,
Right.
just always bring a paper map.
I think
Know how to use a compass.
the term over reliance threw me a little bit because it's like made me think of like, oh, you're using it too much while you're out there. And beginners, I don't think, are going out thinking like, oh, I've got All Trails, and actively using it all the time. I think it's more of an over trust. It's like, oh,
That's
it's
what I
there
mean.
if it's
Yes.
there if I need it.
Relying too
And it's
much
like,
on your phone for GPS.
right.
Yeah.
It's not it's not always just gonna be there if you need it.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Correct.
but yeah, and we've talked about like learn how to do dead reckoning, learn how to use the compass to do dead reckoning. So you should be able to at any point be like, got it, I can find out where I am, I can find out where I need to go,
Right.
and have the tools to do it without electronics.
God, Dead Reckoning is such a great
Yeah,
phrase.
it's a navigation.
Another
tool.
band name.
Dead Reckoning. What was the other
Isn't
one?
it a video game?
Endless Promise.
Endless
Promise.
Dead Reckoning is
Playing
100% a video
live.
game. I don't
Yeah,
know what
I
it
think
is.
it is
but
a video
there's,
game.
There's definitely a video game. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys have any else that's on top of your dome? Tip of your tongue?
I don't
Something
think so.
that most backpackers forget to do? Create a mistake?
I mean, I feel like we covered it pretty well. But if you guys have one,
This isn't. We're usually going to group, so it's less. We do it anyway, but it's less critical. But your itinerary, tell people where you're going to be and when.
That's a good one.
Yeah, good
Yeah.
call.
Great call.
It's
Great tip.
Not something I always think about, but generally on the way up, we're texting our wives and stuff, and it's like,
I
hey,
actually-
we're here.
We're gonna lose signal
But,
here, but
yeah,
just enough.
Before we
Most trips we
leave,
lose signal.
I send Kaylee an address of where my wife. I send her an address of where we're parking the car.
Yep.
And typically, I think we tell the girls like, if you don't hear from us by
Right.
this time on this day, then maybe there's
Yeah.
something
Figure
going
it
on.
out.
And
Yeah.
especially if you're going out by yourself, it's like, have somebody.
Someone not by
needs to know
yourself
your
for sure.
plan.
Somebody's got to know, and then you need check-in times, and it's like if
Don't
you miss
72
it,
hour it. Or what was the dude that got his arm stuck in the canyons?
72
Is it
hours.
seven-
Wasn't
is it
that
seven-
the
is
name
it
of the movie?
72 hours?
27 hours.
27
I think it
hours.
was 27 hours.
No, dude, I think it was longer.
27 doesn't sound like enough.
I think it was
127 hours.
127 hours.
Oh my God, I was going to
Paul.
say.
God, that's a long
I was like,
time.
127 is
Yeah.
not enough, or
just 27.
was just not enough.
Yeah.
It's a long time.
That's a long time.
That dude did not
127.
let anyone know where he was. He didn't have a phone. He didn't have any of that
And
stuff.
his arm got stuck?
Yeah, they
Oh,
cut it
dude,
off.
you don't know this?
story?
Oh, this
I
is
know
a
the story.
brutal-
I don't
James
remember.
Franco,
I don't remember it
brutal,
being a
dude.
movie.
got so into the role that he cut off his own arm in film.
It's a good
is
like
accurate.
one time watch, and
Yeah.
you're like, I'm
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
It's good. It is.
Yeah, if you haven't seen
It's
it,
a good
go
movie,
check it out.
but
I
It's
forgot.
wild.
I
You see it
forgot
once,
about that movie.
Yeah.
It's enough.
Crazy.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, that's all I got.
Sweet.
Anything else?
I think we
We've
hit a lot.
perfected
we hit
it.
a lot
As
of
long as
great
you don't do
points.
any of the stuff we talked about, you will be perfect.
Perfectly fine.
And make sure to pack steak or pot stickers on your trip.
Or a Chipotle burrito. For the first
Yummy.
night.
And nerds
Yep.
and nerds gummies.
Nerd cluster.
We have a food problem.
Yes, we do. Absolutely. We love our food.
Sure.
We love you guys. Thank you so much for listening and watching every week. We appreciate it. We post a video on YouTube at least once a week. And now we're doing the podcast every other week. If you haven't already, please do hit that like and subscribe button. We really appreciate that. Leave a comment. If you have a question, shoot us an email. If you're a first-time backpacker and you're scared to do something, let us know. We'll help you out. We promise. There's 5 of us here. One of us will know something, maybe. I hope. And we will see you next time.
Mike, watching you. Subscribe.
Subscribe, Mike.
Musical guest. Endless Promise.
Pretty good. That was
very good.
just like him. The Trail Theory Podcast is sponsored by Audimute and Audio Technica. Music by Dan Koch.